Vladimir Putin's recent nuclear pronouncements have cast a long shadow over global affairs. His warnings, issued against the backdrop of the Ukraine conflict, have stoked fears of a nuclear confrontation. The world watches with bated breath, grappling with the implications of his words. These pronouncements are not mere rhetoric. They represent a calculated strategy to deter Western intervention in Ukraine. Putin aims to project an image of strength and resolve. He seeks to remind the world of Russia's nuclear capabilities. The timing of these warnings is significant. They coincide with intensified fighting in Ukraine. They also come amid increasing Western support for Kyiv. Putin's message is clear. Russia is prepared to use all means necessary to defend its interests. The international community has responded with alarm. Many fear a return to the Cold War era. Others worry about the potential for miscalculation and escalation. The stakes are undeniably high. Want to know what's happening? Let's know the story from the beginning. Russia's nuclear doctrine has undergone significant changes in recent years. It has moved away from the Cold War doctrine of mutually assured destruction. It now emphasizes the possibility of limited nuclear strikes. This shift reflects Russia's evolving security perceptions. The new doctrine allows for the use of nuclear weapons in response to a wide range of threats. These include conventional attacks that threaten the existence of the Russian state. It also includes attacks on critical infrastructure. This expansion of the criteria for nuclear use is alarming. The doctrine also highlights the importance of non-nuclear strategic weapons. These include hypersonic missiles and cyber warfare capabilities. Russia sees these as a way to offset Western advantages in conventional forces. This adds another layer of complexity to the nuclear equation. The changes in Russia's nuclear doctrine are not merely theoretical. They have real-world implications. They increase the risk of nuclear conflict. They also make it more difficult to predict Russia's behavior in a crisis. Putin has outlined specific conditions under which Russia might use nuclear weapons. These include a direct attack on Russian territory. They also include an attack that threatens the survival of the Russian state. These red lines are meant to deter potential adversaries. However, the ambiguity surrounding these conditions is a cause for concern. What constitutes a threat to the survival of the Russian state? This lack of clarity could lead to misinterpretation and unintended escalation. Clear communication is crucial to avoid disaster. The potential for miscalculation is further heightened by the fog of war. In a fast-moving conflict, decisions must be made quickly. There is little room for error. The consequences of a misjudgment could be catastrophic. The international community must work to clarify Russia's red lines. Dialogue and diplomacy are essential to reduce the risk of nuclear conflict. The world cannot afford to gamble with the fate of humanity. Putin has warned that even conventional attacks could trigger a nuclear response. This is particularly true if the attack is perceived as being backed by a nuclear power. This warning raises the stakes of any conflict involving Russia. The possibility of a nuclear response to a conventional attack is a dangerous precedent. It blurs the line between conventional and nuclear warfare. It also increases the risk of escalation. This is a recipe for disaster. The Ukraine conflict is a prime example of this dynamic. While the fighting has remained largely conventional, the underlying nuclear threat is ever present. This makes the conflict even more dangerous and unpredictable. The international community must work to prevent the escalation of conventional conflicts into nuclear war. This requires clear communication, de-escalation mechanisms, and a commitment to peaceful resolution. The world must learn from the mistakes of the past. Putin has specifically mentioned drone attacks as a potential trigger for a nuclear response. This highlights the growing importance of drones in modern warfare. It also raises concerns about their potential to escalate conflicts. Drones are becoming increasingly sophisticated and readily available. They can be used for a variety of purposes, including reconnaissance, targeting, and attack. This makes them a valuable asset in any conflict. However, their use also raises ethical and legal questions. The use of drones in the Ukraine conflict has added a new dimension to the conflict. Both sides have used drones to attack each other's targets. This has increased the risk of escalation and miscalculation. The international community needs to establish clear rules and norms for the use of drones in warfare. This is essential to prevent their misuse and to mitigate the risk of escalation. The world must adapt to the changing nature of warfare. Putin's decision to station nuclear weapons in Belarus is a significant development. It extends Russia's nuclear reach and increases the potential for nuclear conflict. It also raises concerns about the security of these weapons. Belarus is a close ally of Russia. The two countries have a long history of military cooperation. However, the stationing of nuclear weapons in Belarus is a new level of cooperation. It also raises concerns about Belarus's sovereignty. The international community has condemned Russia's decision to station nuclear weapons in Belarus. This move is seen as provocative and destabilizing. It also violates international arms control agreements. The stationing of nuclear weapons in Belarus increases the risk of nuclear proliferation. It also makes it more difficult to verify compliance with arms control agreements. This is a dangerous development that must be addressed. The current geopolitical climate is fraught with danger. The risk of nuclear conflict is higher than it has been in decades. The world must take urgent action to de-escalate tensions and prevent a catastrophe. Diplomacy and dialogue are essential. The international community must engage in constructive talks with Russia. The goal should be to find common ground and reduce the risk of conflict. This requires patience, understanding, and a willingness to compromise. Arms control agreements are also crucial. The world needs to strengthen existing agreements and develop new ones. The goal should be to reduce the number of nuclear weapons and prevent their proliferation. This requires international cooperation and a commitment to disarmament. The world must also invest in conflict prevention and resolution mechanisms. This includes strengthening international institutions, promoting peaceful settlement of disputes, and supporting mediation efforts. The world must learn to resolve its differences without resorting to violence. The future of humanity depends on it. Thank you for watching. For more in-depth analysis and updates on this developing story, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell.